The internet's absolutely drowning in this stuff these days. The most mysterious cold cases, the top most dangerous criminals, the shocking truth behind whoever, on and on. So today I'm rounding up the single dumbest criminals the internet has to offer, purely for your entertainment. Because let's be honest, this is completely useless information. First up, Darren Kimpton. A case I like to call You Picked the Wrong House. This guy was a burglar out of Northampton, England. One evening, out doing his job, he decided to break into a house over on Abington. But somehow, genius here smashed a window to climb in, and promptly sliced himself wide open on a shard of glass. And after all that, he walked away with absolutely nothing. Bleeding, bitter and thoroughly embarrassed, our boy decides to hit one more house down the road. But instead of doing it like in the heist movies, picking a target, scouting the location, making an actual plan, this legend just trusts the universe, picks a house completely at random, and goes for it, leaving everyone in awe. And so, on this glorious attempt to break into somebody's home to steal their stuff, he picks the one house that happens to be absolutely packed with police officers, mid-investigation, sitting right inside. The officers just look up like, well, that was easy, and he's nabbed on the spot. This whole thing reminds me of a burglary back in 2016 over in Hanoi, Vietnam. Our culprit, a local guy from the Hai Ba Trung district, was wandering around Hong Quoc Viet Street, scouting for an easy target, when he spotted a house that looked wonderfully easy to break into. So he shimmied up an electricity pole, slipped into an upper floor, and tucked himself neatly inside a wardrobe to lie in wait for the perfect moment. But it must have gotten a little too late, because our master thief promptly fell fast asleep. The next morning, the lady of the house opens her wardrobe, and there he is, just waking up. Rudely disturbed from his lovely nap, he flips out and starts attacking the poor woman. Her son hears the racket, comes bolting upstairs, and this guy is fully ready to throw hands with him too. The whole matchup was messy and frankly just annoying, so the son literally tosses him the house key, basically gift wrapping him an escape route. And yet, somehow, our guy still gets nicked by the police right after. Now, same energy as that last guy, but somehow even dumber. We've got Dozy William Willett, a man officially crowned the dumbest thief in all of England. Big title. And honestly, he earned every letter of it. This one went down in the city of Canterbury. One evening, after wandering around town and generously helping himself to a pretty solid haul of other people's belongings, he decides to hit one more spot, a little burger joint, probably going for that one last score to round out the shift. Gotta hit those quotas, I guess. But the man was clearly running on fumes, grinding that burglary deadline a little too hard, so he just lies down and falls asleep. Right there. At the scene of the crime. Next morning, some poor soul walks past, clocks that the door's been jimmied open, and rings the police. And when the cops finally show up, our guy is still fast asleep, cuddling his little bag of loot like a teddy bear. Final tally, 2 years and 4 months behind bars. This man literally took a nap and woke up in prison. Next we've got a guy from Ohio. He skipped his court date for a DUI charge. Plus he's tangled up in a pile of other stuff, vandalism and all that. So the police go ahead and post a wanted notice on Facebook with his mugshot attached. So while they're sitting there with zero leads on where this guy even is, the man himself apparently takes one look at his wanted photo and goes, absolutely not. Tags the police department directly and demands they use a better picture. And that's exactly how he got caught. Moral of the story, not everything that looks good is actually good for you. Next up, another guy who's just a little too online. Meet Nicholas Wig, a burglar out of South St. Paul, Minnesota. On June 19, 2014, he breaks into a house to do his usual thing. While he's poking around looking for stuff worth grabbing, he spots a computer sitting right there. So naturally, he logs into his own Facebook and just scrolls for a bit. To unwind. And then, he just leaves. Doesn't log out. Doesn't even think about it. Meanwhile, the homeowner gets back and immediately realizes his place has been ransacked. The computer's just sitting there logged into some random guy's account, looking extremely suspicious. So, being a thoughtful, resourceful Facebook user, the homeowner posts straight onto Wig's own page trying to fish for clues. And Wig replies almost instantly, happily agreeing to meet up and hand back some of the stuff he took. Real stand-up guy, apparently. Except, plot twist, it was a total setup. He shows up and the police just swarm in and arrest him on the spot. I mean, genuinely. Moral of the story, if you're not the sharpest tool in the shed, maybe skip the burglary career. Next, a guy out of Oregon. I'm calling this one bringing a knife to a gunfight, figuratively speaking. Honestly, The man should be the actual mascot for why put off till tomorrow what you can do today. The man is decisive, that's for sure. His whole philosophy in life, if you want to do something, you just do it, right now, no hesitation. So one fine day, he gets the urge to commit a robbery, and yep, off he goes. But rob what exactly? Robbing some regular old store felt beneath him, apparently, so he sets his sights on a gun store. Armed with one baseball bat. Bro genuinely thought that thing was Excalibur. Once inside, subtlety was never really on the table. He just straight up smashes the display case with the bat, instantly alerting every single customer and employee in the place. But of course, it's a gun store. So naturally, every single customer and employee in there was already packing their own personal slice of the Second Amendment. Like my guy basically volunteered himself for the VIP treatment. I can't confirm whether he walked away with a complimentary bullet or two, but I can absolutely confirm it did not take long for the police to scoop him up. This next guy, 18 years old, actually had a real plan and some prep work going in, unlike our last friend. One fine day back in 2008, he decides to rob a muffler shop over on 2600 Chicago. Records don't really say what his motive was, but honestly, pretty safe bet he just needed some cash for car mods. So he grabs a gun and just barges straight in, guns blazing. Well, one gun, blazing. Bad luck though, all the actual cash is locked in a safe, and the boss isn't even there. The employee has no clue on the combination, and robbing whatever's in his pockets probably wouldn't even cover an Uber home. So Zarate does the only reasonable thing. He leaves his phone number. Tells them, when the boss gets back and opens that safe, give me a call and I'll swing by. Don't call me, I'm shooting the place up. And then, he just walks out. Confident. Like a business meeting well handled. The man genuinely thought armed robbery worked like shaking down a kid for lunch money in high school. The employee just stood there, completely stunned. So instead of waiting around for Ruben, they called the cops straight away. Plainclothes officers set up an ambush right there, have the employee make the call, and just like that, one dumb idea plus one criminal record. Meet Mark Smith, a 33-year-old from Wigan, England. I'm calling this one what goes around comes around. One evening, he decides he's going to rob a local bar. Now, unlike our last guy, this one actually had a plan going in. Doesn't mean it was a good plan. His IQ was hovering somewhere just south of room temperature. So the plan goes, step 1, grab some food because he's hungry. Step 2, head to the bar. Step 3, rob it. Honestly? About on par with my own company's average business plan. When he actually gets to the bar, he suddenly realizes he didn't bring a single tool to break in with. And well, using his takeout food to pry the door open felt a little too dumb, even for him. Then he remembers that classic movie move, smash the glass with a brick. So he grabs one right off the street and hurls it straight at the shop window. Except, people have been pulling that exact move for like 8,000 years now. Everyone's got reinforced glass these days. So the brick doesn't break anything. It just bounces straight back and cracks him right in the head. Down he goes. Next morning, the bar owner unlocks the door and finds a man just lying there on the sidewalk, a bloody brick right next to him. And that's how you get a one-way ticket straight to the police station. Next up, Klaus Schmidt, living proof of the phrase ignorance is bliss, except in his case, it's literal. The man is actually, genuinely deaf. One fine day, he decides to rob a bank. Armed with nothing but the vast cinematic knowledge of every heist movie he's ever watched online, he grabs a pistol and confidently strolls right in. And then executes the movie playbook to perfection, waves the gun up in the air like an absolute genius and delivers the classic line. This is a robbery, everybody get down. The bank teller is understandably terrified at first. So when she asks if he needs a bag for the cash, he just yells back, "That's right, this is a real gun." Which, wasn't the question. At this point the staff are pretty sure the guy is properly deaf. So one employee starts slowly filling a bag with cash just to keep him distracted, while another one very casually reaches over and hits the alarm, which is now blaring. The hostages just calmly stroll on out, and the police just as calmly stroll on in. Even with a megaphone blasting orders to drop the weapon, the guy hears absolutely nothing. It's not until a whole squad of officers walks up and physically taps him on the shoulder that he finally clues in. And that's how he ends up in the back of a police van. And afterward? This man actually turned around and sued the bank for exploiting his disability. Moral of the story, learn to listen. Next case. This guy was, apparently, a huge fan of Pablo Escobar. Like, genuinely obsessed. And somewhere along the way he got it into his head that smuggling drugs internally was the move. Kind of like how Gen Z loses their minds over a photo op with their favorite idol. This guy had that same energy, except his version was copying a drug lord's smuggling method. But instead of keeping it small like everyone else, this guy decided to go all in, 62 packages worth, and then just casually boards a plane like it's a regular Tuesday. The moment he hits the security checkpoint, he just can't hold it together, sweating buckets, legs shaking, clenched up tighter than someone leaving a Diddy party. Security gets suspicious and pulls him aside for questioning. His entire defense? I just haven't been to the bathroom in a week. And since the metal detector didn't flag anything, they had no choice but to let him through. Everything's going fine, until, mid-flight, one of the packages breaks open inside him and the drugs start absorbing into his system. Not long after, he's having a full-blown seizure from the overdose. The crew makes an emergency landing and calls in a medical team, who manage to safely handle the rest of the situation. Bad news, he got arrested right after. Good news, hey, at least he's famous now. This next one's a bit different. Mohammad Ashan, a Taliban commander. He was suspected of orchestrating an IED attack targeting US forces in Afghanistan, which got him a full manhunt courtesy of the US and Afghan government, focused on Paktika province where he and his group were based, complete with a $100 reward for any useful tips. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Apparently he remembered that old saying, a great commander strikes first, before the enemy even gets a chance to react. At a little reverse psychology wisdom he apparently picked up from TikTok, and boom, in 2012, this man walks in and turns himself into police, then demands his full $100 reward. In cash. To this day, nobody's fully sure why he did it. Some experts figure the group was running critically low on resources at the time, to the point where a bunch of fighters were already defecting to the US-Afghan coalition, which meant even the commander himself eventually had to bail. Guess the terrorism deadlines were just piling up too fast. Boss wouldn't approve time off, so, turning himself in it is. Meet McArthur Wheeler. On April 6, 1995, this man pulls off 2 bank robberies in the US. Weird part? No mask, no disguise, nothing. Dude just walks straight in. So, naturally, he gets caught on camera. When the police show up, he's genuinely baffled. Like, how did they even find him? And when they slap the cuffs on, all he keeps yelling is, "But I put lemon juice on." According to his own testimony, the man genuinely believed that smearing lemon juice on his face would make him invisible to security cameras. And he'd actually tested this theory multiple times, coating himself in lemon juice and snapping photos with a Polaroid camera. And when the photo developed, and he didn't show up in frame, well, theory confirmed, as far as he was concerned. Investigators later figured the actual explanation was just a broken camera. That's the good news. The bad news? He got sentenced to 24 years in prison plus 3 years probation. He even ended up inspiring a Cornell social psychology professor to write about him in what became the now famous Dunning-Kruger effect, a wildly famous psychological phenomenon. Basically, the professor's take was, this guy was too incompetent to be a bank robber, but also too incompetent to realize just how incompetent he was. In short, just supremely dumb. Next up, Dennis Hawkins, also a bank robber. But unlike lemon juice guy up there, this one actually put together a proper disguise. This guy's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Before robbing his bank, he made a quick pit stop at a store and shoplifted himself a gun. He then decides to disguise himself as a woman, blonde wig, fake breasts, full clown outfit. But with that pure gigachat energy running through his veins, he draws the line at shaving his beard. Gotta keep things masculine, apparently. After the robbery, he runs to a gas station trying to steal a car for his getaway. Bad luck, the moment he hops into some lady's car, she's faster than him, yanks the keys, hops out, and locks it right up. The gas station owner takes one look and immediately recognizes him from the news broadcast. So, one phone call later, police show up and scoop him right up. Next up, Albert Bailey, quite possibly the most polite bank robber on this list, because he actually called ahead to schedule his robbery. Specifically, around 2:40 p.m. on March 23, 2010, he calls up a bank in Fairfield, Connecticut, to give them a heads up that he'll be robbing them shortly, with a couple of requests: 1, don't call the police, and 2, have $100,000 ready for when he arrives. The guy genuinely acted like he was placing an online delivery order, while also casually threatening to turn the place into a bloodbath if anything went wrong. The bank actually goes along with it, while also quietly calling the police. Later that afternoon, right as the bank's about to close, an accomplice shows up to collect the cash. This one's polite too. When the teller tells him she's short of the full $100,000, only has $99,100. He just shrugs and says that's fine. He takes the cash, drives right back to where Bailey's waiting, and that's it. Both of them get scooped up on the spot. 9 years behind bars. Next up, Umar Mirza, living proof that a bad ex is nothing compared to a bad former employer. This guy's a gambling addict who's a regular at a casino over in Birmingham, England. After racking up a pretty solid pile of debt, he's like, alright, time to get a real job. But instead of becoming a streamer and turning his debt struggles into content, he just submits his CV directly to the casino he gambles at. You know, for convenience. Except he doesn't get the job. So, furious about it, at 8 a.m. the very next morning, he shows up wearing a mask, holding a gun, threatens everyone in sight, and walks off with £17,000. But instead of fleeing right after, he doesn't even make it out the door before ripping his mask off to celebrate. And the manager's just standing there like, wait, isn't this the regular who applied for a job yesterday? So the manager just grabs that CV, full of his actual real personal information, and hands it straight to the police. 6 years in prison? And that's the roundup of the dumbest criminals I found online. Honestly, there are plenty more cases just as ridiculous, but they're all kind of the same vibe, so, I'm feeling lazy. Anyway, that's it from me. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thank you so much.